Howdy, folks. I hope you're well. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to RPITV, soon to be called RPI Live. I'll tell you why in a little while. I have my co-host here, Alexander, otherwise known as Zandy, is co-hosting with me today.
Yeah.
He's not been too well today, but he's co-hosting with me. So welcome to him, my little pigeon buddy. And one to that's on. We've got Bill Buxton on, Stephen Mulger, Cy James. Congratulations on your winning bid, Cy. Stephen Kennedy, Jim Smith, Andy Neil Gibson, Robert Anderson, Stuart Reed, Nigel Saw, James Martin, Jeffrey Abel, Ricky Turner. We've got 80 people watching at the moment. Thank you very much to everybody watching. Mickey Brown, hold fire. He says he's just dishing up his tea. Stephen O'Brien says we need to go back to twice a week. I think I'm busy enough as it is, Stephen, but once a week it will be for now. But trust me, it's just going to keep getting bigger and better. I'm going to tell you about some of the plans I've got for this later on. Amanda Wallace is joining us. James Dunn, Peter Karan, Paul Machin says, nice to see you back, Mark. Thank you very much. Reggie Howes, Tracy Taylor, and a whole bunch more. Lee Hart, Chris Davis, Billy Calvert. Chris Davis says, hi, Zandy. Right, so yeah, we got a lot on to go and talk. The best thing to do is for me to thank and congratulate Aaron for last week's TV show. I think it was a top one, and I think it gave you an insight into him and his first year of starting, and a lot of people liked it. Had some amazing views, and I know because I spoke to him earlier on that he was saying just what feedback he'd got from it, and he'd got a lot of people that were messaging him after the show, talking to him and what have you. So yeah, well done to him. He will actually be doing next week's show as well, because I will be in Romania from Saturday onwards. So Aaron will be doing next week's show as well, which I'm sure you will join him and look forward to whatever he's talking about there. So, right, I'm just getting up. I'm just trying to multitask, but that is not very good. And the reason I'm trying to multitask is because I posted earlier and we had a bunch of questions come in.
I need to find it.
Yeah, please, if you would, my little co-host. We had a bunch of questions come in for Gary, and I just want to get them up. So we've got Gary Tomlinson joining us tonight, and you can ask him anything, but he's going to be specifically talking about pairing up and breeding this week. And I know we've got a lot of people that are going to be looking forward to watching and listening to what he's saying. Let's do some shout outs while my able assistant is finding that. Scott Barron says hello, evening all. Let's get some shout outs on the screen. Evening to you, Stephen Kennedy. Jim Smith is here. Like I said earlier, Mickey Brown's just dishing up his tea. Thank you very much, Paul. Tracy Taylor, thank you for joining. Anthony Bracken's in. When is Zandy hosting? Well, it will happen, trust me. Just got to get his confidence up. And yeah, Anthony, Aaron is a top man. I do get about a bit, Scott. I'm in Romania next. I'm from Saturday onwards, and then I'm in probably Belgium at the end of the month, and I'm in Germany. I'm going to Kassel as well. I haven't arranged that trip yet, but I'm going to Germany, and then I'm in China at the end of November, all being well. Wayne Conway's in, and Dave Ward's in. Mickey Brown has got his tea. I suspect that post has been removed.
I could see the post, all of the comments.
Yeah. Now, listen, guys. We, as I said earlier, we posted out.
That's it, isn't it?
I'm sure I posted it on my timeline.
Yeah, it's gone.
So I know Chris Davis, you're watching this. I know you asked a lot of questions, Chris, for Gary. But as seems to be the status quo these days, it appears that the post, let me just check one more page, and just in case I'm screwing up and jumping into
The post is there, but all the comments are.
I'm sure I posted it on my timeline. What it is, guys, on my timeline, I posted. In fact, hang on a minute. Let's do this because people would have commented. People would have commented on this here somewhere. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find all the questions that were asked because I know a lot of questions were asked. Ready. It's not in order then. Ready for Gary tonight, and got it. Where was that then? That was in the group, so they haven't been removed. Right, found the questions. Have any questions for Gary? Jason Wincott, good of you to join you, mate. I'm glad you're here. Andrew Agnew's in as well. Let's just get some people up here. So if you have any questions for Gary, fire them into the chat and we will ask them. Gary's going to be coming on in about 10 minutes time, right? No, not doing the Dublin show, Stephen, because I am not here. I can't remember where I am, but Aaron will be going to the Dublin show. So yeah, so before Gary comes on, he's just joined us ready, but before he comes on, so if you've got any questions for him, ask. We have got questions already coming in for him that came in on Facebook earlier, but if you've got any more questions, then let me know, and we will fire them at Gary. Gary's going to be doing a regular monthly slot for us because a lot of people like what he's got, as is proven that we've got 100 people. So it's not just Aaron that pulls the big crowds now. He may have set the stage for me last week to hit 100 regular, but we've just done that. Thank you, Aaron, for setting the stage for me to hit 100 regular, 107 now. So fire your questions into to us for Gary. Prior to Gary coming on a minute, I just wanted to kind of give you a little review of the Portugal trip because it's been a pretty busy few weeks. I was down in Portugal 2 weekends ago, covering both races. And it was a good, busy weekend. A lot of people said, "Oh, how was your holiday, Mark?" I felt more knackered after I came back than before I went. It was busy. I covered both races there. They were. I really enjoyed covering them. It was, it was a good great venues, both of them, lots of people there, and I enjoyed covering it. As I have said already, I didn't enjoy the fact that both of the main videos that in fact, all of the videos I did while I was over there have been removed by Facebook due to some idiot reporting them. And as you may have seen, I did an open letter to Facebook with a video saying that inadvertently they're kind of supporting some intimidation and bullying that's going on. The reason I'm mentioning this is because as anything that happens, any issues you get, that as long as you're learning from them, as long as you're moving forward, that's all that matters. So as I actually said on my Saturday video when I was down in Portugal, because just before I went live on air, I found out that Fridays had gone. Ultimately, long term, this is not a sustainable solution. You shouldn't have to be going in worried about backing up your video so you've got a copy of it and taking all the comments of it because you were running a t-shirt competition. Incidentally, people that entered the t-shirt competition on the Saturday one, I will get to you this week and I will be ordering your t-shirts to getting them out to you. I haven't forgot it. Just been a busy old time. You shouldn't be having to be worrying about PDF printing off everybody's responses and making backups of the video. And the very first thing that I did last Monday when I finally got back home about 1:30 in the morning is I said to myself, I need to go and get a copy of the video of Aaron's show in case it gets removed. This is the mentality and the mindset I've got at the moment. Sure enough, I went and got a copy of Aaron's show so we could get it onto YouTube. And what do you know? It was removed the next day. And every single video that I've done while I was in Portugal, in no way, shape, or form contravened any rules. It's just simply the same old story, jealous, whatever. Now, all of these things, what do? They teach you that you've got to change your game, up your game, change your approach and whatever. So what I'm moving to long term is this, and I've been looking into it in whatever time I can. Proper streaming production companies will now broadcast to a website and then stream out onto YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and what have you. That's what this is going to be doing. The name will change. It'll be RPI Live, and it'll all be on, not yet set up, but it'll all be on rpilive.com. So whenever I'm doing a broadcast or I'm covering a one-off race or I'm covering a sale or I'm covering all this stuff, you're going to be able to go to rpilive.com and you're going to be able to see the show right there and comment on it as you would, and it'll be a central place, and then we'll just send it all out. So that's what's going to be happening, and I'm looking to up the game with regards to production and how we do more stuff and we get more people involved, and ultimately make it more of an actual TV show. And that's what's going to be happening down the line, just so everybody knows. So yeah, I see Ronnie Bigwood's watching, and yeah, I agree. I would like to get him on as a guest at some point. Absolutely. So yeah, that's where we're at. Portugal trip was all good. Met a lot of great people, nice to a few things, and ultimately given me more ideas on how things should go. Right, he's been waiting now for a few minutes, so let's not delay him anymore. Let's get Gary on. He's got a better camera view. I can already see the camera view is exceptional compared to previously. And Gary is on. Can you hear us, mate?
Yes, no problem at all. Perfect.
Ronnie, 1 second. That might be new. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no problem. Perfect.
Yeah, that was because my sound was down. Great, mate. How are you?
Good. Yeah, good. Yeah, now a bit of pressure's off after this weekend, so everything's good. Yeah.
Yeah, you said you already had people picking up birds and arranging.
Yeah, it's
to
been
pick 'em up.
quite a busy day. We've had a few pigeons picked up today. More tomorrow. We're Walker's Transport. Well, I'll be getting them ready tomorrow for Walker's, picking up on Wednesday for delivery Thursday. People come in on Friday. Quite a few people Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So by middle of next week, I'd imagine most will be gone. Most of the Irish pigeons, or any which has been purchased in Ireland, I'm going to get ready to send out next week. They'll all go in one shipment.
Andrew Walton says he gets better looking. I agree, he does.
It comes with age.
Right. So today we are talking about pairing up, breeding. I mean, what anyone who would ask, start again, Mark. Whatever anybody wants to ask, you will deal with. But we're going to focus in on pairing up and breeding today, which seems a natural thing.
Yeah, specifically, exactly. That's what it's about, you know. And then we move on to preparing pigeons for racing, motivating pigeons in the racing season, how to bring pigeons back into form, etc. in later broadcasts. You know, but at the moment in time, it's all about this time of year and moving forward to. I mean, there's going to be some people pairing up in what 5 weeks. You know, mid. I'd say second week in November, because the rings are out early now. People will be pairing up, so it's all about getting the pigeons ready, clearing them out, health, prior to pairing them up. That's what I'm here to talk about tonight. I'd just like to say hello to Zandy. How you going, mate? All right?
No, not too bad. Are you?
I'm good, mate. Thanks. Keep him intact, won't you? Look after him.
Try my best.
Good. Yeah, right. So we're at the time of year where it's, you know, first week in October. We're a bit behind, to be honest. We're his own pigeons. Normally, we'd be ahead of the game by now, because I like to, first of all, as the pigeons are coming through the molt, most of the stock pigeons are now looking real oil paintings. Anybody who's got races, with old bird races, they should be vertically through the molt. All you've got now is young birds to get through the molt. But what we usually do in September, back end of September, is first of all vaccinate all the stock pigeons with a dual-purpose vaccine for PMV and herpes. This is the best thing we've ever done, and we've never bred such healthy youngsters. The cocks and hens are split ready, and then 30 days before pairing them, I'll give them a 10-day treatment for Baytril. Now, with Baytril, sorry. Now, these are just my methods. You can treat with whatever products you want. Some will treat with Cosmix, some will use Parastop, and some will use other things. I have used Baytril for many years and had no problems whatsoever. The problem with people with Baytril is it's when you start to depend on it and you overuse on it and abuse it. It's fine, want it. If you have the odd sick pigeon, then yeah, you know, use it again. But please don't abuse it. You know, that's what we do. 30 days before pairing up, we use Baytril. Then moving on now to selecting the pairs. If you've got a successful pair from the year before, obviously you're going to keep them pairs together. If you've got a winning cock and a winning hen, then my advice would be pair them two together, provided it's not brother or sister or something very, very closely bred like that. I always used to be a big believer, winner to winner will breed winners. I'm not a pedigree man at all. I always judge pigeons on how they handle. And if they take me fancy, then that's good enough. Prior to pairing up, obviously you want your ends slimmed right down. And I know it might sound not very kind, but at this time of year, we're all feeding the best multi-mix we possibly can. Or that's what you should be feeding. Because if the pigeons have a good molt, then you'll have a good racing season and breeding season the following year. Forget the days of going to the farm and filling your trailer and your vans full of corn from farm and all that shit that you get to come with it. Rats and everything what's been pissing all over it, you know. and I'm sorry if I'm using language like that, but that's the way I am. I say it as it is. Purchase the best possible corn you possibly can. That's a must. Plenty of multivitamins through the malt, so the pigeons are in first class condition, sort of thing. Plenty of grit, plenty of minerals. So we'll move on now to preparing the ends. The ends are the main part of breeding, and you want your ends basically as fit and not carrying any weight whatsoever. So what I always do is 2 weeks before coupling the pigeons is I'll give the ends no more than a quarter ounce of the aperitif per pigeon. And
Quarter ounce.
Quarter of an ounce per pigeon.
Okay.
And people say, how do you gauge quarter of an ounce? What we do, we box all the ends. All the breeding ends get boxed. And they're fed on the box. So you guarantee the quarter of an ounce per pigeon.
Right.
The cocks, they're fed. They're good quality widowwood mix. It might sound that why give that to the cocks? It's just that when I was in Belgium many years ago, Jean-Pierre Guillotte van Scries said to breed successful pigeons, you must keep the cocks very high in vigour, health, and then you'll have a good breeding season. Keep the hens very thin and light on weight, and you'll have no problem. Once they've laid the first round, no issues whatsoever. Feed as much as you want, because obviously they're feeding the youngsters, and then once the youngsters are 22, 23 days old, there's cocks will be driving them to nest again. The hens should lay no problem at all. But prior to pairing, the hens need to be in first class condition. The only way to do that is keep them slim. Once the pigeons, I feel, are right to couple together, as I said, we'll select the breeding pairs. You go through them very careful. In the Udares Wins auction this time, I've purchased 6 pigeons, which I think can help strengthen what we've got already. And they'll go in the loft next year's venture pigeons, and we'll also send a few to different one loft races all over the world for other people to test. And these pigeons will be treated exactly the same as what I'm saying now prior to pairing yours up. Once you've decided
as a matter of interest, mate.
Sorry?
Just because I know people will want to know what birds. Can you highlight some of the birds you purchased out? Are you prepared to share such info?
Yeah, it's not a problem. Not a problem at all. I just need to get a sheet because there's a few sentiments involved in it. In me purchasing a couple of the pigeons, you know. I purchased lot 15 because the breeding behind it. I purchased a cock last year, and he was phenomenally bred. And this is a hen which took me fancy for many weeks, many months. You know, her coming into the loft, and I thought she'd race a good pigeon. And to finish 15th in the hardest race we've ever had in 5 years, where only 320 birds were liberated on their own, and being asked to fly, you know, virtually 295 miles, with no other birds racing from France that day, on the hottest bank holiday weekend in history, was no mean feat. So I thought, yeah, we'll have a try with this one, you know. I know the loft it's come from is a top-class loft and wins for fun where they are. So I decided, yeah, it's not gone for crazy money. Let's go on, let's have it, let's ski to bash, you know. So I bought it. Then I purchased a grizzle, which I'm not a big fan of grizzles, to be honest with you, because the oak bait, if you got my opinion. But I bought it because it come from a top loft again, a top one loft racing loft in Millie's Loft, and I thought, yeah, let's get to bash, you know. I bought another blue cock, which I really do like. That come from Fordy's Loft, from Carl Ford, who's relatively new to game, but I will say this: he puts his money where his mouth is, and he buys the best he can possibly buy. And this is another pigeon which I really did like. I also, I'm trying to think now, Mark, to be honest with you. Yeah, I bought the pigeon which, if you remember, I posted a video on Facebook about a pigeon coming back with half its neck eaten away. and only basically its windpipe holding its head on.
Yeah, that was that 99, I think.
99, yeah, for Harry's Otters, yeah.
Mm.
So I thought, well,
I mean, that deserves a medal in itself just to have got back, doesn't it?
Correct. I can't believe, me and Rob, we couldn't believe how it made it home. God Almighty, you've never seen it like it. So I thought, it's gutsy, it's fate. It's due to come back here. It's well bred. It's from the best of Alwyn Paddy, who was one of the best flyers you'll ever come across. So I thought we'll have a tittle with that, and we managed to get that one at quite cheap, really, And then I bought a pigeon. I wanted to buy a lot 71, which was homebred here. It was our number one stock pair. But the people who bought it as a venture, they wanted it. They're racing men, they're national men. So I thought, well, okay, I'm not going to go against you. But what I did do, I bought one put in by that syndicate, actually, which was out of a cock last year, which finished 15th open in second ace pigeon in this race. And it was out of our number one stock pair. So it's like a half grandson, if you like, to that pigeon. So I bought that one as well. I also handled a pigeon entered by Just a Ridder. I think that was lot 95. And it handles a tree, absolute gem. So I thought, yeah, this has got a little bit something about it. Forget the pedigree, I'm not interested in that.
But what it demonstrates is that you're always looking out to add that extra bit into what you've already got. That's the lesson that comes out of this as well. And apart from 99 with sentiment, but again, any bird that came back's a good bird. But there was definitely some sentiment in 99. But you've picked birds that the people they've come from, and of course you know how they perform. Well, everybody can see how they performed on the thing, but it's just adding new good birds into what you've already got, which is one of the questions we've got coming up in a little while about that. Let me ask you a question, not specifically to do with it, but I think people would like to know for you, if you picked one bird what was your favorite based on performance and throughout the whole race this year? I know what mine is, and obviously mine's relatively simple, but have you got anything that, not necessarily the bird, but the flyers, the people that put them in? I mean, what was your, and I'm asking this in relation to what we're talking about tonight from a point of view of breeding. It's not a let's talk about the race all night. It's from a point of view of performances, standout performances, flyers that have put birds in, and what have you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah, I mean, every pigeon really deserves a medal, which came from that final, because Jesus Christ, nobody knows how tough it was. But I was very disappointed, because taking nothing away from the ace pigeon, nothing whatsoever, because that pigeon, in the end, it deserves the ace pigeon. It was timed at every race in race time. But the pigeon which I really thought would fly a good pigeon was the pigeon leading up to that for the Odd Bod Syndicate, which was winning the ace pigeon. It ran out of sight, it had raced phenomenal, it had trained well, it had done everything right. But it got the day it didn't want. And that's the difference with this race and any other one-off race. 3 times now, out of 5 years, the ace pigeon has been virtually uncatchable going into the final. But when them pigeons go to France, as I tell everybody who brings the pigeons here, you can ask so many fanciers. I always say, forget the hotspot races. It's all about the final, because it's a different ball game. It's a different playing field, and it's a level playing field. When that small group of pigeons hit that channel, God only knows what's going to have a go at it, or ain't going to have a go at it. And that pigeon, obviously, the conditions weren't right for it. I'm not saying they're a bad pigeon. Having said that, the raptor situation, the pigeon could have been took by raptors.
You just never know, do you, mate? At the end of the day,
nobody knows.
I mean, for me, the from a sale point of view, the steal of a bird was the ape pigeon. What it went for, I've talked about this prior, not just about your your sale, but for me, the ace pigeon should be fetching as much or if not more than the first. But there was a steal of a bird there at lot 16, the ace bird, now called Bentley, by the way, everybody. That bird's now been named Bentley, being picked up this week. But yeah, I mean, you know, like you said, I know we talked about the ace pigeon that was in the frame prior to the final race, but again, it's all down the day, and who knows what's happened, you know. But all in all, you know, it was a good one. And are there any birds left? Have you had people calling up for? There was about 4 or 5 that were unsold.
Yeah, yeah. I just like to say about the pigeon what I actually did with the ace pigeon. I mean, you handle it, it handles an absolute treat. The class oozes out on it, you know. And you're right. To be the ace pigeon in a race like this is some pigeon, you know, and it has gone cheap. There's no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. There's 5 pigeons which have not sold, which happens every year. Make no mistake about it. But they usually sell straight from here. But what I will say is, there's nothing leaves here under 50 quid. That's it, because I think it's an absolute insult with what these birds have done.
They'll sell for sure. And what's interesting about the ace pigeon is that's actually going to be paired to the winner of the Gran Canaria One Love race. So that's going to be an interesting pairing there. It's going down to the London area, and it's going to be paired to the Gran Canaria winner. So yeah, we will see what happens there. Right, getting back onto the subject at hand. Carry on, mate. Sorry for that interruption, but I thought it was. I think it's interesting for people to watch. You yourself are buying birds out of your own race, and
correct,
you're doing that to put into your stock loft, and that's, you know, that for me certainly. Obviously, I know you've bought some birds, but for others that perhaps don't. So I think it's important that people know you don't just stick with what you've got. You're always looking to bring, new blood in, and your reasons for doing so about individual pigeons.
Yeah, if you stand still, Mark, in this game, if you stand still in this game, you get caught out. You've always got to be looking to move forward and get ahead of the game, if you like. But moving back on to the coupling of pigeons, you select your pairings, and then obviously you put them in the boxes. If the cocks had the same, try and keep the cocks in the same box as they had the year before. This eliminate 2 cocks going in each other's box and scrapping. Ends are far more easier. We've got ends in same section, which we pair to different cocks. Many years we've done that for, and we don't have an issue with the ends. It's the cocks which is the problem. Try and give that cock that box. If your ends are in form after coupling, they should be laid up within no more than 9 to 12 days. If they lay in 4 to 5 days, then usually the eggs are clear. It's like a dummy lay, if you like. But if you've got ends which aren't laid after 14 days, then I'd split them. I do know people leave them together, but not me personally. If my ends aren't laid in 14 days, then even whether it's November, December, January, cold, whatever. Having said that, we use the lights. The lights is very important. When I say we use the lights, we leave them on 24 hours a day.
All right.
They're not on a dimmer switch, nothing like that. The lights are on 24 hours a day till all the ends have laid. But if they've not laid within 12 days, them ends what aren't laid took away. The cocks took away.
If they've laid within 4 or 5 and they're clear, what do? Do you just leave them still to it?
No, take the ends away for 4 days. Take the cock away, but lock the box off. Put the cock back in on his own for a day. Get him used to his. Well, they know his box anyway, but get him used to what's going on in the loft. Then introduce the end, but keep them locked away. This time, the end will lay in probably 8-9 days, no problem whatsoever. Keep the weight off her. That's important. Keep her back on depurative. Keep the weight off her.
Are you listening, Dan?
Yeah. Pen and paper.
Okay, great, mate.
So we've got all as you will have problems with young cocks. That's going to be an issue. You know, you bring yearlings in, or what's maybe got injured, I don't know, or you think this pigeon's had 3 or 4 fish, so I'm going to put it straight in stock shed. or if you're pairing widowwoods together, when you're coupling your widowwood pigeons, you've got yearlings. Yearlings are crazy. They ain't got a brain. I mean, you imagine when you were 16, 17-year-old and you had your first taste of crumpet, you'd run a mile for it. And that's what these young cocks are like. They're no different to humans,
Let's ask Sandy about that.
Well, Zandy be getting close to it now at his age, and he'll be running a mile soon to
Zandy's already at it, trust me.
Well,
Zandy's already...
he'll know what it's like then. He'll know what it's like. And pigeons are like humans. They're no different. So these cocks will then want to win every box possible and have more than one partner. So you have to be careful. Sometimes you'll have to keep them locked up a lot longer than what you do your older pigeons, should we say. But we'll go back now to once they've all laid up and they're all sitting comfortable, everything's happy. After sitting 8 days, now it's time to treat them for canker. So what I do then is I give them 5 days for Inidazole. 3 days then are multivitamins. Then we just leave well alone. Top quality mix, which is usually Van Roby's breeding exclusive. And I'll mix that with Van Roby's breeding supreme. Now, that's my choice of corn. I'm not trying to sell any corn. I'm not trying to sell any products. This is the way that I do it. You feed whatever you want to do. You medicate whatever you want to do. But I'm only trying to say this is the way that I do it. So then we move on, and the pigeons have been sitting. We'll look at the eggs after 8, 9 days. You should know if they're full or not. If you've got 2 eggs in a nest after 9 days, well, move on to 11 days, we'll say, and you can still see the clear. Split the pairing, smash the eggs, and repair them again 4 or 5 days later. Some cocks can be a little bit too anxious, if you like, but also they may not have connected right. So that cock might want just trimming around his vent. We had it this year. We're a lovely pair of pigeons. The cock was 10th section. The hen was 12th section in the National Flying Club in 2016. And the first round of eggs were clear. So I look at him. I said to Robbo, look at this lot around here. So we clipped him around his vent, put him back together. Lo and behold, never missed again after that. Just simple things like that can happen. But moving back on now, they've been sitting. The youngsters are starting to chip out, and everything's hunky-dory. Once we've got the youngsters, we'll say 7, 8 days old, and, they're starting to put a bit of growth about them. We then canker again. But this time only for 2 days. 2 days again, we're in Inidazole. Because they're still feeding the youngsters then quite a bit of milk, so you're getting it into the youngsters. And believe me, cankering youngsters is a massive, massive thing. There's that many forms on it. With this canker you can't see, gut canker you can't see. And if the youngsters get a bad start, then you're pissing it win, basically, because they're never going to be any good. So you've got to try and eliminate. Health is a massive thing. Once the youngsters, they're growing well, etc., etc., the next treatment we give them then is around about 19 to 21 days. I'll vaccinate them for PMV because PMV is rife now within our sport, and a lot of people are their own worst enemy. I've had people come to me this year with pigeons dying left, right, and centre, and had various issues. One guy was going to kill all his pigeons. And I said, no, don't do that. You don't need to do that. And I can't stress how important it is to vaccinate as early as possible against PMV. I'd love every one-loft pigeon to come here vaccinated for PMV at 21 days, because the first thing we do is vaccinate again for PMV. Then 21 days after that, we'll vaccinate them for PMV and herpes. But the PMV is the most important one.
Right, mate, we've got a load of questions coming in. I just want to break there because I don't want to get too behind on the questions and have to go back on stuff you've said. So if it's all right with you, I'm going to ask some questions.
Go ahead,
So we've got, well, first of all, it's just a comment. Andrew Walton says, just like to say, this man gave me some advice early season and I won 16 races. That's Andrew Walton said that. Stephen
Cheers
O'Brien says,
anyway.
Gary, would you not use Baytril first, then vaccinate, as Baytril would lower the count before vaccination? This was an earlier question that came in, to be fair.
No, not at all. Vaccinate, but what I'm vaccinated for is PMV and herpes. I'm not vaccinated for PMV. I'm using a dual-purpose vaccine because herpes is the biggest killer within our sport at the minute, and it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. I cannot stress how important it is that you address this situation. If then, like I'm saying, we would normally have done our pigeons by now, but we haven't. But basically because I've been swamped down with what's happening with the one loft, etc. The stock pigeons are going to be moved back down onto the yard very shortly, and they'll all be vaccinated for PMV and herpes. We will not this year be pairing until the end of December. Normally, I'd be pairing early November, but I'm just going to change a few things this year because we're not going to sell many youngsters this year. We're going to retain most of the youngsters for different one loft races, and so therefore I don't need to pair up so early. But usually I would vaccinate the pigeons, say September the 20th, 21st, something like that. But they would not then be treated for Baytril till 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, a month later, by which the vaccine, it takes 14 days for the vaccine to kick in anyway. So no, I wouldn't do that. No, if I was jabbing for paratyphoid is a different scenario together. Salmonella, then I would always treat with Baytril first. Then I would jab 4 days later against paratyphoid.
Okay. In between questions, I just want to thank everybody that shared this tonight, and people have shared it without me really asking. And I just want to thank everybody because we have just hit the most people on a RPITV broadcast that we've ever had on a TV show. We currently have 258 people watching us live. So thank you to everybody. And I tell you what, after the few weeks I've had, that means a hell of a lot to me. Thank you to everyone. We've just hit 260 people watching us live now. So thank you to absolutely everybody, because I know without me really mentioning it, people have been sharing it out, because that's sharing it out is what gets us these numbers. So thank you. It feels great. That's Aaron did really well last week. I think he got up to about 140 people watching, but we've just hit 260 people watching you, Gary. And I think that's testament to people valuing your input onto the show as well. I don't think that for 1 minute it's just about me, but thank you to everybody anyway.
Luke Cross.
Yeah, so thank you everybody again. Like Luke Cross, my able assistant is telling me to crack on. How much are you feeding your breeders before you reduce them to the 1/4 ounce, Gary?
As much as they want this time of year, or let's say from July onwards, as much as they want, and a top quality mix as well. I only cut the breeders down. I only cut the ends down 2 to 3 weeks before coupling together, and they'll shed the weight like no tomorrow.
Right. Okay. Again, and it's an old question, and I apologize, Stephen, but we were on a roll and I wanted to keep that roll. But going back a little bit, talking about the one loft race hotspot winners and what have you. Stephen O'Brien says, my research is that 80% of one loft race winners are lost before hotspot race. Sorry, lost before the final. Would you agree?
Yes, I would. Yeah, I would. Yeah, as I say to everybody who brings pigeons here, forget the hotspots. Unless they've been hit by raptors or there's something happened en route, you have a big group of pigeons coming together, and it's a trapping situation, and good luck to the people who managed to get a title in the hot spots. It's no mean feat, but he's quite right. You know, the final is where you want pigeons. That's in this race it is, because we don't have a massive mob of pigeons coming from France. We only have this race on its own. So the final's where you want them. Forget the hot spots. Nice to win one. You know, that's how it is.
And again, guys, I'm blown away because people have obviously shared it again, because we've now just hit 340 people watching live. That's amazing. Maybe it's a combination of Gary and Zandy, and it's nothing to do with me. That's probably it. It's the good looks of Gary and Zandy. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. But yes, thank you, guys. 333 people watching live means a great deal to me. Wayne Conway says, what do you use before pairing up? We've already answered that, really, haven't we?
Yeah, I have, really, yeah.
Sorry, again, there's a lot of questions coming in. Some great advice. John O'Brien says some great advice. Gonna watch fully tomorrow. John, I know I owe you messages, and I will get back to you. I promise. I'm gonna catch up on Facebook next. Tom Powers says, where do you get the dual purpose vaccine from? That's probably a question Gary will answer you on private message, Tom. Just send him a PM and he'll answer any of that. If you've got any specifics about brands, specific things that Gary uses, just send him a private message on Facebook and he will deal with you and help you direct. John O'Brien says, what does he know about paratyphus?
I know it's a killer, you know, but paratyphoid, if you like, is very much similar to herpes, very much similar to paramyxo. The pigeons react virtually exactly the same, apart from spinning around like there's no tomorrow. They act virtually the same. Paratyphus is a killer within the sport, and I don't treat for paratyphus. I did treat some of the one-loft pigeons this year for salmonella paratyphus, if you like, but I stopped it after doing 100 of them because I just found it a waste of time. I spoke to the vet we use, and he said, why are you doing that? You're vaccinating for herpes. They're very similar related, so that'll cover it. And lo and behold, it has covered it. We had no problems at all. So, you know, yeah, if you feel you need to vaccinate for paratyphoid, then don't let me put you off. Get on with it. But for me, vaccinating against the herpes is, and especially if you've never done it before, you need to do your pigeons twice for the first time. Then once you're after that, you'll have no problem with paratyphoid. Don't worry about it.
Okay, mate. Next question is, yes, John O'Brien says, are you going to share the YouTube link? Yeah, I will be sharing the YouTube link within about an hour of the show finishing. As long as it takes to get the video up to YouTube and over, I'll be sharing it out there in case it gets taken off. Will do. Be sure of that. Jason Wincup says you're doing a good job. Thank you very much, Jason. Yeah, I think you've already answered this, but again, Luke Cross, again, I'm sorry behind the questions. I'm going to catch up on the questions so they're current. Luke Cross says, when you vaccinate, do you bring the birds up on anything, multivits, etc.? Yeah, you said that you did it on that, didn't you?
Yeah, straight after vaccinating, I use any multivitamin will do, really. You know, it's each to their own choice. They're all good within each other. You know, I can tell you which multivitamin I use. I can tell you what I use every time after using medication. There's nothing hidden, as I've said before. I hide nothing. I'm here to tell you exactly as it is. And straight after any medication, these birds get 4 days of Herbicol, or the Sedicol, basically, which comes from Botanicals, Kevin Winter's products. You know, because Kevin's products are first class, make no mistake about it.
Okay. $433 people watching now, Gary.
You're pretty under pressure now, aren't you?
No, I'm just telling you. It's, you know, it's...
They've come to see Zandy, that's what it is. Me and your old farts, they've come to see young lads.
They've come to see you and Zandy, mate. I'm telling you. The most people I've ever had on RPI TV show previously was about 120 people. And we've just hit 441 people. So that tells you a lot. Right, next. What does Gary use for nesting material? Chris Davies says.
Well, Chris, I'm very old-fashioned. I don't change it. We've got the old-fashioned pot nest bowls, strain plate Joe Sam nest felts, £2 for 10. Maybe you can call me a tight bastard. I don't know, but that's how I am. Just some straw, but I don't get any straw. I get washed straw, clean straw, dust free. Being a bit of a snob there, I like being on a farm, but I know what vermin goes into straw. I know what vermin can do to pigeons, so we try and eliminate any disease possible. So yeah, just wash straw. I don't use tobacco stalks. I shouldn't say that actually, because I sell them in shop, but I start selling bags of straw instead. But no, just normal wash straw. No special. That's it.
Okay. Sideways, just give yourself a 30-second break, Gary, a minute. William Macaulay has just tuned in. William, I got your messages earlier on Facebook. They are one of the few I have read. Please reconsider giving up the sport, mate. I will be sending you a message later on. You have a lot of people around you, myself and others, that will help you in whatever situation you're dealing with. I don't want to see you giving up the sport just because of one or two other people. I know you've had a complete nightmare, you and your wife. I know you sent me a message to say you've decided you're giving up. I and many other hundreds of people watching this tonight would not see you want to give up just because of one or two people in the sport. Please reconsider giving up, and thank you for joining us, William, for watching tonight. And I will be sending you some message later on, mate. Right, back to you now. Tom Swift said, no, the viewing figures are nothing to do with me. I completely agree, Tom. And incidentally, we've just topped another one at 460 people watching now, which I tell you now, and 473. And this is not in many way, I genuinely mean this. This is not, I don't say this in a big-headed way in any way, shape, or form. I am genuinely blown away that we've got 487 people as we speak watching from all around the world.
496.
Oh, we'll hit 500. 503. There you go. 503 people. That blows my mind. When I first started this, I can remember saying to someone, watching a pigeon video, I think it was a Pippa video actually, and they had got 150 something people watching at the time I was watching. And I'm like, wow. And at that time, I used to get like 20 or 30 people watching my videos, live viewers. And I remember that. And that was March, April time. And we have just hit 500 people watching this show now. That blows my mind. And all I can say is thank you very much once again to everybody, because you have no idea how much that means to me. That means a great deal to Gary, who's sharing this great advice, to me and to Zandy. And Stephen O'Brien, like he says, I think Zandy's the good luck charm.
I'll be on it more often.
Right, moving forward. Thomas Alot says, do you treat them for canker the same when going on their second round as you do when on their first round, Gary?
No. Basically, in a nutshell, no. I treat them on the second round. I'll treat them then when the youngsters are about 12 days in the nest, because I think by this time the older pigeons have been treated twice on the first round, and they are not going to say guarantee the canker free, but they'll be carrying a very low count. All pigeons have got canker anyway, but it depends on what count of canker they've got. So no, I'd only on the second round I'd treat them, when the youngsters are about 12 days in the nest. But excuse me, only for 3 days.
Okay. Stephen O'Brien says, line breeding, how long and how close do you go, Gary?
Good question. Very good question. The best pigeon we've ever had in our lives, and never will have, we'll never get one as good again, was a mother to son pairing, but purely by accident. The pigeon, to be quite honest with you, was not quite right. I'll be honest with you now. So I'm talking about the M was fine, but the son was not quite right. But he'd raced really, really well as a young bird. So as a yearling, we decided, we'll just chuck him in there with his mother. So we did. And we bred 2 youngsters. One was deformed and not quite up to the job anyway. And then the other one was turned out to be an unbelievable pigeon. I remember boxing him to take him to sale, and I got a lump in my throat, tears in my eyes. And Annette said to me, "Don't sell him, keep him here." But me being as bullheaded as I was, I said, "No, he's got to go." I sold him 2 years too early because that pigeon would have fetched phenomenal money. His protege, cocks and hens, I think have bred now no less than eight national winners. Wow. Every year I see Paul Keegan from Dublin, who races in a massive federation, 5,000-6,000 pigeons. Paul will say to me, "Who bought Golden Balls?" And all I can tell you is a guy from Scotland bought him. He bought him, his dad, his mother, all his brothers, etc. And I think Paul's bred something like Paul had 2 from him direct off him, and one unfortunately didn't make it. The other one, the cock, is in his breeding loft, and I'm quite sure if anybody who knows Paul Keegan will tell you what a phenomenal pigeon that's been for him. And it's with heavy heart to say it. I wish I'd still grown to this day. I've got his grandfather here because I ain't got the heart to do away with him. And his grandfather's 22 years old now, but he's still here puddling about. Like I keep thinking this will be his last winter. But the pigeon's still here, and he's still puddling on. He's not filled me an egg since he was 7 years old, but he bred so many good pigeons.
That bird deserves his place in the loft.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When was this, Gary?
This was Golden Balls were a 2007 pigeon.
Right.
So yeah, he'd be what now? He'd be 14. He'd be 10. He'd be 14 years old, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
A phenomenal pigeon, unbelievable.
So when was the? So we've got to find out who's got them birds. Then really, that's a little task. We've got to find out who's got them birds, because I'd love to be able to think we can get some of them birds back.
I'll buy him back off him if you still got him.
Well, even its sons and daughters would be useful to know, wouldn't it?
Unbelievable pigeon, correct? Unbelievable.
Right. Well, that's something we need to look at. What's your Stephen Morgan says? What's your opinion on line breeding, interbreeding, and the use of the bull system, Gary?
I'm not against the bull system at all. If you've got a good cock, you need to use him to best you can. I remember I went to Jan Hoyman's loft a good few years ago now, and obviously when Harry was in his prime, and I walked into the office there to collect a pigeon for someone who paid phenomenal money. Jesus Christ, had he ever? And I looked in the corner, there's an incubator, and the eggs are going round and round and round. and all them was artificially inseminated eggs from Harry. And Harry was a phenomenal racer. He's gone on to breed some good pigeons, but artificial insemination is the way forward, because so many cocks stop filling their eggs at a young age now because they've been on the bull system, etc. So you need to get as much out of them as you can. Line breeding, yeah and no. The way I do it is, as I've said earlier, winner to winner. If I get a pair, which take our number one stock pair, that cock had been to 2 different hens, we'd had nothing. The hen had produced. We put the hen to this cock. They bred Midland National winner. They bred 15th open in this race. They bred the pigeon what was 71st open in this race. They bred us 2 pigeons what were in the final in Portugal. And that's purely by just chucking 2 pigeons together. It's luck. But the 2 pigeons which I handled, and I thought, yeah, we'll give them a try. The full brother to the cock which was produced, the Forest Gump pigeon, up to yet, we've only had 1 good pigeon out on him. Next year I'm going to try and we a younger hen, a different hen, and we'll see what happens, But line breeding, yeah. But my opinion is winner to winner. I'm not against inbreeding. I'm not against anything like that. All I say is just watch what you're doing, because some people can do stupid things, and it's you're digging yourself a grave, really.
Welcome to Dinny Kinsella watching. Dinny.
Hi, Dinny.
Congratulations.
Hi, Dinny. How you doing,
mate? He came on. He's on watching. Congratulations, Dinny, for getting your bird back, mate. 2019 Who Dares Wins champion. I'm looking forward to what you do with it, mate. And Gary and I and Zandy are very pleased that you managed to get your bird back. John O'Brien says, would he agree on sprint pigeons for the hotspot races and distances for the final?
No, not necessarily. I personally think there's no such thing as a sprint pigeon and a distance pigeon. How does a pigeon know it's a sprint pigeon? How does a pigeon know it's a distance pigeon? Then you get your plodders. Are we talking about plodders here? Or are we talking about 500-mile daybirds? We had pigeons win at 80 mile. We had pigeons win at 500 mile on the day. I know other people have done exactly the same. It's all about the feeding. Feeding is crucial leading up to channel. That's why I like 2 weeks to work with these birds, because they're fed totally different to the hotspot races. I can see his theory, but for example, the pigeon which was 15th open in last year's Who Dares Wins final, where only 1 bird on the day, also was at 3 hotspot races to win them hotspot races. It landed with the winner. It had a 2nd and a 3rd. So that makes a mockery, really, is it a sprinter? I'm a big believer, and I personally feel that I can get, if you call them sprint pigeons, if you like, from this race in the final. We've got to bear in mind here, we've been very unlucky the last 2 years. We've dropped on 2 abnormal years for weather, which, had we gone a week later, had we gone 2 weeks later, Jesus Christ. I'm not trying to brag or look for excuses. All I'm trying to say is, judge me then on the birds you would have got back, because they were good racing days where it was a 7-hour race. God, it was fully clock time, They'd have pissed it, basically, but we didn't get it. You don't get it. But that's what sets this race is. Who Dares Wins.
Exactly. Margaret Elizabeth McCauley says, hello, Gary, and hello, Mark. Welcome, Margaret. I assume that you're William McCauley's wife, and I would say to you, Margaret, if you are, please don't give up the sport just because of a few people. You've got enough people to help you out. I will, for one, and as many people around will as well. Neil Gibson says, are the old birds put through the same scenario as the stock, Gary?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, every pigeon I intend to breed off and race off the following year gets exactly the same. Vaccine the same. The Baytril 10 days exactly the same. So yeah, they're treated no different whatsoever.
Okay. Stephen O'Brien says 437. This will hit 600. It did actually hit 600 for a brief time, Stephen. Thank you very much. And again, blown away. Stephen O'Brien says he has an alarm set for this. Beats EastEnders on a Monday. Thank you for that. Jason Wincup says barley or wheat straw?
Barley straw.
Barley
100% barley straw, yeah.
Robert Cairn says, what do you put in water when racing? Vitamins and treatments, etc.? Question mark.
Yeah, it's something, Mark, I want to move on to in a later broadcast.
Okay.
You know, because we're talking about breed pairing up now, aren't
Yep.
we? Breed, you know, I will say
Yep.
this to everybody. Yeah, I will tell you exactly everything when it comes to racing. Before racing, sorry, preparing them for racing, what to do after, what I did after 3 races, 4 races, 5 races, how to produce a pigeon for a big race, a national race, etc. What treatments we use, what medication we used. There'll be nothing left uncovered, trust me, because we don't race anymore, so I'm hiding nothing. I'm trying to get them novices out there, which it's a tough sport to come into, such as Zan is a new starter next year. He needs to be on a level playing field with these guys that's been racing 30, 40 years. And they won't tell you a thing. Trust me now. I will. And it's going to come out shortly in the new year.
This is why we have so many people watching, mate. Chris Davies says, what's the oldest stock bird you have, Gary?
2011. We have two Belgian pigeons from back 17 and Marcel Albrecht. And they're both filled this year. You know, they're the oldest stock pigeon. 2011. We have 3 2012. Probably around about 2013 pigeons. Maybe a couple more than that. And that's the oldest we've got.
Okay. Thank you. Jason Wincup says, send Gary some Budweiser.
Good man.
Simon Woolley says, what grits or minerals do you give the stock before, during, and rearing youngsters? And do you give any extra calcium?
Yeah, I use. Bearing in mind here, remember what I said earlier. I'm not trying to sell any products. I'm only saying this is what we use. You'll choose your own, and you'll have your own ways. And you know, I'm not saying change that for 1 minute. But once we couple the pigeons together, we give them Botanicals BioCal D3. It's an unbelievable product. Can't stress how good it is. And then birds will get that 3 to 4 days a week at least. As soon as they couple, they're on it straight away. The eggshells are absolutely unbelievable. Mineral-wise, I don't give grit separate. I don't give black minerals separate. I don't give pink minerals separate. They get a multi-purpose grit, which is either Van Robys or, you know, Herberts. But 9 times out of 10, we use Van Robys, the red bucket Van Robys.
Okay.
And it's got everything in.
Thank you, mate. Luke Cross asks, how long does Gary give his stock birds before he moves them on, and how many times does he repair them, etc.?
That's a great question. Anyway, I'd like to say hi, Luke. I keep in and give me our regards to your dad as well. I didn't see you out in Portugal this year, but hopefully we'll meet up again. Good question. 2 years. They get 2 years. That's all they get here. So not bred nothing in 2 years. They're gone. But what I will do to give either a cock or a hen a chance is if you couple them with like this year. We'll just take these one-loft pigeons I bought this year. We'll give them a chance with by handling, not pedigrees, by handling. Well, I'll couple that to that. we get nothing next year. What I'll do then is I'll pair the cock or the hen to a pigeon which has produced before, and if you get nothing that year, then obviously it's not the hen or the cock which has already produced, it's that pigeon you've coupled to them. So unfortunately, I don't have time for that. They've got to go.
Okay. Cy James asks, how many days old do you take the youngsters away, Gary?
That's another great question. That is a very, very sensible question. Once the youngsters are out of the nest bowl, and you can see them picking like no tomorrow out of the pots, etc., and the cocks and the hens aren't really interested in feeding them then because they're back down to nest, we're probably looking 25, 26 days old, maybe slightly early, but not much earlier. I'd move them on. If we catch them on the floor, then they're gone straight away. Because if they're strong enough to come out of the nest box onto the floor, unless they've been forced out, and they're feathering up well under the wing, then we move them on. And I will tell you, the fed peas only. Once we move them on, the fed peas only, nothing else.
Is that interesting? Peas only. You're listening, Dan.
Taking the notes.
Tatton Lofts asks, what breed of pigeons does Gary think best for one-off racing? And this is a wide-ranging question, but you can give us some input on your things. And does he think hens come better than cocks?
Ooh, that's a toughie. That is a real toughie.
Well, you're not here for a good time or an easy time, Gary.
No, that's right. The breed of pigeons really is irrelevant because we've had the Ermincoosters come. We've had the Kirkpatricks come from distance pigeons. We've had this year Dennis pigeon, a Roland Jansen cross pigeon. I think the breed of pigeon is slightly irrelevant. All I will say to you is send the best you've got. Cocks and hens, it's difficult because I think it's about even Steven with the cocks and the hens. If I had to put my head on the chopping block, and this is only a personal opinion, nothing more than that, I'm not trying to lead anybody in any way, I prefer hens for the channel. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, we were talking about that in Portugal, weren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you heard it here. Stu D. Bellamy says, hi, Gary. Big shout out to your dad, Brian, who's passed his wealth of pigeons on to you. Hope he's feeling better. You bred me my first winner, dream girl. Thanks, mate.
Yep.
Chris Davies says, what breed was Golden Balls, Gary?
You're a jumpier. I'll tell you a tale in a minute and it'll make you laugh. I trust you, it'll make you laugh. It was a Jean-Pierre Guivart Van Screes pigeon. But I'll tell you how we got these pigeons, yeah? In 19... let me try and think now. I think it was 1994. Maybe slightly earlier. It was the second English loft at Jean-Pierre Guivart Van Screes' as loft. And I've been watching this guy. I got this Belgian magazine. I'm watching him. Working class fancier, winning out of turn. Then he won the national in Belgium from 9,600 pigeons. We had a pigeon called Plecky. So I said to my dad, we need to go and have a look at this man in Belgium. Pretty bluntly, we hadn't got a pot to piss in. We're both miners. We got nothing. Lived on a council estate. That's why so many people I get on with, because I am where I am. I don't try and dress it up. So we set us off to Belgium with a map, with a red line drawn on it. None of us had drove abroad before, didn't have a clue what we're doing. So we finally comes across this village called Roncy. I decided we'd park up at these crossroads. It'd be about 4 o'clock in the morning, I think, something like that. And this is one of the things I'll always, when my father does finally kick his clogs, this is one of the things that will live with me. But anyway, it started to break daylight, and I was running up to these crossroads with this bit of paper, this address on. And this woman actually talked decent English, and she pointed. It was actually only 800 yards away from his loft. And now it's breaking light. I looked up and I saw the pigeons out in like a bit of an aviary in the attic. So I said, we've cracked it here, Dad. We're here. So anyway, away we goes into his loft. It knocks on the door, invites us in, as all Belgians are. Plenty of tea, plenty of coffee, plenty of beer if you want it. You know, they're very, very sociable. But all we were bothered about, really, we're having a look at the pigeons. So my dad, we're a big bloke, 6'3", 18.5, 19 stone, starts moving he only had hardboard partitions in this attic loft. He got to start moving to get my dad down the attic. So I'm not joking, I'm telling you now, he had to move these partitions. So we start handling these pigeons, and we handles plecky or whatever, you know, and you only got a small group of breeding pigeons, very small group of breeding pigeons. And my dad starts saying, we'll have one out of that, one out of that, one out of that, one out of that. Anyway, we orders all these pigeons, cut long story short. And he said, well, you're going to have to wait like so many months or a year for some of the pigeons because you're a racing man and you need to keep some at that, some at that, some at that. So I said, fair enough. So anyway, that was it. We shook hands and we went away. So on the way back, I says to me, Dad, I says, how am I going to pay for these? He says, don't worry about paying for them. Don't worry about paying for them, lad. He says, that accident had at Pit. He said, I've got a big claim coming through. Meantime, I need you to get money. I said, you're joking, aren't you? I said, I ain't got that kind of money. 10,000 quid we're talking now. He says, well, there's no you can do. So I goes home and broke news to Annette. I said, we need to remortgage our house. She says, what for? I said, we bought some pigeons, but my dad's going to sort us out when he gets his claim through. So 10,000 quid, we gets the money, sends it to Givar. Then the trump card come. The offer come through for my dad's accident, £2,500. Jesus Christ, I'm 7,500 up Swanee. So I says, now what we're going to do? Don't worry about it. I said, it's all right, you're saying don't worry about it. I have £10,000 strapped around my neck now that I can't account for. So anyway, we decided to appeal against the claim. Thanks to the magnificent National Union of Mine Workers, who we supported right through the strike and everything. You let us down in a big way. So we had to take out a private summons. Luckily, my dad got legal aid. We had this mining engineer come and said, these people who we told the truth about the accident, we told the truth to this day. And they all said this accident couldn't happen. Anyway, it happened. And this mine engineer come who specialised in difficult cases, and he said, oh yeah, I can see how that happened. Centrifugal way to this. And it baffled me anyway. I said, look, where do we go from here? Got these barristers involved, and he said, don't worry about a thing, you've got a great case. I thought, don't worry about a thing. I have 7.5 quid here up Swanee. 7.5 grand here up Swanee. So anyway, I've been a naughty boy, now I'm doing a bit of community service, helping community out as you do, you know. And it was a Saturday morning, and this is only a week before we're doing court for my dad's claim, accident thing. And he said, Gary, I've had an offer come through. I said, what is it then? He says, 125,000. I said, are you sure you're reading it right? Aren't you sure it's 12,500? He says, I'm telling you. Don't call me stupid. I'm telling you. So I said to the woman who were running nursing home, I said, listen, I said, I've got to shoot off home. I've got a family emergency. So anyway, off I goes. I said, give me that letter. Get some. I said, give me that letter. There were 125,000. I thought, Jesus Christ Almighty! Thank God, my 7,000
saved.
500 back. So I gave him his due. He took us all on holiday as well. So you know, we did all right out on it. But I thought it was a great story to tell. You know, that's how we got the give-up pigeons. You know,
and that was Golden Balls.
That's where Golden Balls come from. Yeah, he was a grandson. No. He's a grandson. Like I said, I've got Golden Balls' as grandfather here. His father is a full brother to Plecky, who won the national.
That's a story and a half, mate. Stephen O'Brien, Stephen, I don't know the answers to your questions about them, but I will find them out for you about who bought what and what got what, mate. Just send me a message, mate, and as soon as I can, I'll let you know on the birds. Sean Haig says it's all about feeding. It sure is. Tom Power says, do you increase the barley content prior to pairing?
No, definitely not. I'm not a big. The only fan I am of barley is with young birds. If you want young birds to fly and really fly, you know, once they're on their own in their own sections, etc., give them barley, 100% barley. They'll fly, no problem at all.
Okay. Stephen O'Brien, what does Gary think about Ronnie droppings on yearlings in the molt?
Not a big problem, Stephen. Don't worry about that, mate. You bring a lot of the molt puts a lot of stress under them. You know, handle the pigeons. You can tell if a pigeon's got watery droppings, it's got something wrong with it. We all understand that, and it's going light or something like that. But handle the pigeons. If they handle okay, don't worry about. Obviously, if the shed's wet through, that's a different ball game. But if the droppings are slightly firm, moist, with a little bit of dampness in it, don't worry about it. Look, probably drop the protein down a bit. If you're using quite a bit of electrolytes or multivits, drop them off a bit. Electrolytes should actually put them right, but if you're using a lot of multivits, drop it off a bit. Give them plenty of grit, stop the grit. That's what will be causing it.
Okay. Ian Gill asks, if Gary was starting up tomorrow to compete in One Life races, what type of pigeon would he be looking for?
That's a good question, Ian, because I actually said on an earlier broadcast, if I was starting at today, I would go to One Life races to purchase pigeons. Purely because fanciers enter what they perceive as the best pigeons in their loft because they're trying to win the race. Now, some of the parents to these pigeons would have cost a small fortune, thousands and thousands. And, you know, they're sending youngsters off them. So you're getting grandchildren from them. So I would personally, I'm not saying buy from our One Loft, buy from any One Loft anywhere you feel right, is I'd be buying One Loft pigeons to start up again. I wouldn't go paying over crazy prices to buy these modern day pigeons, etc., etc. I'd be buying from them lofts.
Okay. Gareth Adams says, has Gary got any feed and treatment system for racing and pairing?
I have got a feeding and a treatment, but the treatment, like I said, is anybody wants to know anything about treating and any kinds of medication, then please send me a private message or whatever. You know.
And leading on from that, guys, what I'd like to do at some point is I would like to document this. So as we keep going through this series, it's a big job and it's realistically not something we can do yet. None of us have got the time for. But I think one of the biggest problems, like if Zandy here was a normal young guy coming into the sport that didn't have me and all of my increasing contact like Gary and Sheldon and Sean Hunt and people that can feed into it. Imagine somebody, yes, they've got now shows like this, but you know, if I was starting and everything we've talked about today, I want to document, you know, and I think it's ideal because Gary's in this unique situation where he was and is a racing man, but a racing man from a One Loft point of view and running the One Loft, got nothing to hide anymore. And like you said earlier, a lot of racing men won't give you everything they know. And I think it would be a great thing over a period of time as a long-term project to document here is the manual. Here is the manual you need. This is this man's experience. And over a long period of time, I'd like to look to do something like that because I think it would be a great resource for anybody new or existing coming in. You know, we've got pigeon men on here that have been in it years asking questions and learning, and we've got new people like Zandy coming in and learning as well. So that's something I'm going to be looking to, over a period of time, look to do something else. Stephen O'Brien says this is like the song The Greatest Show. Thank you, Stephen. Luke Cross, smashing answers as always. Always good to pick your brains, Gary. All the best for 2020. Chris Davies says, does Gary wean them into the basket to eat and drink?
No. We try and get as many youngsters ready. Obviously, if they've laid up as they should lay up, you'll be moving quite a few youngsters together. So we just put them in a section. We leave the top on the water. We don't leave the top without the water on so they can bath in it, etc., which a lot of people do because they're shitting in it and you don't know what they're picking up. So we leave the top on the water, and if they've got any brains, they'll find where the water is. If you see a pigeon blinking, then you know it's had no water. A youngster blinking, I'm talking now, you'll know they're blinking. Very slowly blink. You know them pigeons have had no water. Just grab it, shove its head through the bars for the drinker. Don't have to do it again. It's quite easy.
Okay. Chris Bennett says, if you're only giving them 2 years, how many youngsters are you taking off the pair?
6. They have 3 nests and they're parted. Our youngsters have been parted. Our stock pigeons have been parted now since June.
Steve Morgan, yes, it's all about big risks and rewards. A lot of people like that story, Gary. I'm only just catching up on the comments now. Budgie, we're going to be talking about racing and feeding and stuff later on down the line, mate. That'll be for another show. Carl Ford says, come to Fordy's Loft. If any young starter is ready, I will sort them out. Ian Gill says, I've got an idea for that. I assume you're talking about the manual. I'm sure you've got an idea, mate. You're full of many as ideas as I am. And many more people as Gary. I have a new nickname, folks. It wasn't given to me by Gary. It was given to me by Gary's wife. Tell them what my new nickname is, Gary.
The Nutty Professor. And how right she was calling him the Nutty Professor. I don't know how the man sleeps at night.
Why am I called the Nutty Professor?
Because you can't switch off. You're just hyper all the time. You're looking. Your brain's ticking all the time. And I say to him, how do you switch off? I met Mark. We're out in Portugal. I met Mark out in Portugal, and his mind's tick, tick, tick. And finally, we got him to relax on the Saturday night before I come home. And God Almighty, did I ever laugh? I never laughed so much in my life. And the 2 people at Weirs had a real laugh and all. Let me tell you now, you need to read that man's book.
Life stories. Yeah. Well, it's just the way you built, isn't it? Stephen Kennedy says it's a fab idea. I look forward to it. Yeah, it's not going to be happening anytime soon, Stephen. We've got too many things to do, but I guarantee you I want to get it done. I want it to be the pigeon manual that Gary is behind, and we will look to get that out because I think there's not enough out there. I really do. And I think everything that you're learning on these shows needs to be documented. Exactly. Let's get some more questions. A few more questions. I'm going to wrap it up. AC Loft says, Gary, for young birds, do you think a dropper, a whistle, or just go good old whistle, call them in?
Well, I only use the whistle for the one loft pigeons. If I was racing myself again today, then whatever suits you, try them with a dropper. I'd always train them to whistle anyway, because I think that's the best way to feed them. Is within 2 or 3 days of you feeding them youngsters in a loft, and you're blowing that whistle every time you feed them, bang, it clicks like that. If they've got a brain, as soon as that whistle goes, they bang into that corn trough. They can't get enough of it. But I'm not against using a dropper, far from it. With me here, I could chuck a dropper onto the landing board, and it goes up. It ends up sitting on landing board or going on. I mean, our landing board is very close to the top of the loft. It manages to get onto the top of the loft, or I chuck it a bit too high. You're creating your own problems then. So therefore, I only use the whistle, and we don't have a lot of trouble with trapping, as you've seen it on. It's always been live, the trapping, etc. And people have commented how well the birds trap. You go to some other one loft races, and sometimes they sat out 4 and 5 minutes before the trap.
I must say the trapping at the Portugal was pretty damn good for mostly as
Absolutely.
well. Andrew Walton says you should make a video from January to January on when he helping his one-off race. Well, I don't think Gary would want it helping his one-off race, but what I think we should do is we should look to do a manual and a video, and I'll put it out there now that we should look to try and do that. And as I said, I'm not giving any timelines on when this can happen, just because there's that much going on that I've got to start being realistic, because I can't claim myself yet. But a video together with a manual would be a great thing. And I tell you what I would propose, and I'm sure Gary would agree, is that the profits from that can go to the Pigeon Sport Future Foundation that we're working on to help with bringing the sport forward. But we'll see. What do you reckon, Gary?
Yeah, I don't want any. I'll help anybody I can, and help any.
Yeah, but I think if we get that out there, it would help a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure we can. Yeah.
Sure we can. Aaron Ennis says, I'll agree to that. I also said them works to mark. Them words to mark. Gary, I would go with the hen. I'll bet on the channel. Thank you as well, Mark. So Tatton Loss thinks hens are better on the channel as well. William Dean says, one of the best shows you have had. Excellent. Thank you very much, William. William McCauley, brilliant show, mate. Please keep watching, William. I will private message you in the next couple of hours. Please don't give up the sport, mate. For the problem you've got, it can be resolved. Trust me. Well, let's go with one last question, and while we wrap it up, because it's 9:30, we're an hour and a half into it. So Reggie Howes asked, does Gary think, well, before I ask this question, if you've got any questions real quickly, you want to ask any more, let me know. We're about done for tonight on the questions. We just had one more coming in, but I'll ask this question. Reggie Howes says, does Gary think there is any truth in the throat theory?
No, I don't at all. Same as the eye sign. I think I'm not saying I'm not against eye sign. It's just something I've never done. The pigeon will tell you if it can't breathe right. It'll tell you.
Would you care to explain very briefly what the throat theory is that you don't?
When you open the beak, you're looking for the biggest vent, if you like, so that pigeon can take in more air.
Right.
To me, it's irrelevant, to be quite honest with you.
Jason Wincup says, thanks a lot, lads, for taking the time out answering questions. It's my first year racing. I've learnt a lot already. Thank you very much, Jason. This is what it's all about. This is what we do these shows, especially with Gary, for as well. Jeffrey Abel, great show. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. Much appreciated. One last question we'll do. I'll tell you what, no, we'll do two more and that's it. We'll draw a line of the questions now. So we've got two more questions. I'll go on three, Chris. You've just fired another one. Three last questions. That's it. We'll draw a line on the questions tonight. We could keep going for all night, but let's not. Steve Morgan says, would you split a pair that's already breeding winners and try them with other high standard breeders, or would they just be paired for life, as you can't ask for more than producing winners?
That's a great question. I've done that this year. We had a cracking breeding pair who bred the 2016 Who Dares Wins winner. They also bred pigeons for Mr. and Mrs. Falston. Their Wonder Hen was out the same pair, which raced phenomenal at Channel for them. All national racing, won them a fortune. This year, I decided I'd split them, because all the other pigeons which we've ever sold from them have all gone straight to stock, and rightly so. But we split them this year. And in the final of the Who Dares Wins one-off race, I think one finished 24th. I think that was from the cock, paired to a different hen. And the hen, I think, was 34th, something like that anyway. One was for Leon Prince, and the other one was for the Neckender Syndicate. So both them pigeons, which were paired together, coupled together, to breed a winner plus a pigeon which has raced phenomenally in nationals, and the nestmate to it broke its legs and went in the stock shed and produced for Bill. They've also produced with different, actually not being coupled together, but coupled to a different cock and different hen. They've produced again. So obviously they are special pigeons.
Okay, thank you, mate. Tartan Lofts asks, Gary, do you think the late pigeons throughout the hotspot races turn out to be good pigeons?
100%. What I've always said is, if I'll talk about us sending pigeons now to one-off races. If we get pigeons which night out at one-off races, and same here, and it's been proven in 2017, if we get pigeons which night out at one-off races, so be it. They're learning. They're coming on their own. They're not coming with a group. They're not following the leader pigeons. In 2017, we had a pigeon won 3 hotspot races. That pigeon could be 20, 30, 40, 70 more, which all were winners. The pigeon eventually won the race, nighted out the first 2 hotspot races. Then it come a bit better on the 3rd hotspot race, a bit better on the 4th hotspot race, a bit better on the 5th hotspot race. In the final, northeast wind, hot day, albeit the wind was very calm, but it was 1,100 yard a minute race. The pigeon won it. So that pigeon had 2 nights out. It learnt its trade.
Cool, mate. Last question for the night is Chris Davis. If a young bird is holding food in the morning, what do you treat for?
I don't give it anything at all. If it's holding corn, give it nothing to eat. Might just gouge its hen a bit, that's all. But then if it's still holding corn or it's not right the day after, then I'd probably clear it out completely, get some Epsom salts.
Okay. Mitchell Ross says, brilliant information for everybody free of charge. Thank you very much. Charles Foley says, what does... Charles, we're finishing up questions. We'll come back with that question at another time, mate, if that's okay. But we've got to draw a line on the questions, and we'll come back to that. I will write that question down and we'll ask it to Gary on the next show that he's on, mate. Stephen Kennedy, brilliant show. Thanks, Mark and Gary. Not forgetting Zandy, keep the tips coming. William McCauley, the basket sorts out the good birds, one of the better ones up the road loads. Thank you very much for all of them questions. It was that was an epic Q&A. That was about an hour and a half for Gary. We like to work him hard when he's on the show. Right, real quickly while we wind up now. So we are now looking, or Gary is now looking, and I'm going to be helping him out with the promotion forward to Who Dares Wins 2020. And don't forget that Gary is the first to have implemented the easy payment plan. Sorry, 1 second. Easy payment plan for entries for next year. What is the easy payment plan? It means you put £50 deposit down between now and the birds. Well, £50 deposit down. And you can pay as little or as much per week, per month, fortnightly, whenever you want between now and the birds entering the loft. The only thing is, all of the birds that you enter have to be paid for before they enter the loft. £500 for 3 birds, £50 entry deposit, and you can pay. You've got essentially got, what have you got, 6, 7, nearly 8 months to pay. That allows people as much chance possible to get their entries in. £500 for 3. And we've got a lot more news coming out about the race. We already announced last week, because we tied up the deal while we're down in Portugal. I say we just because I tried to engineer the deal, the meeting for Gary. It's Gary's deal with Benzing Live. So Who Dares Wins 2020 will be using the Benzing Live system, which in my opinion is the best system out there as we speak, because of the mobile app and everything else that it's got. So yeah, 2020 we're looking forward to now. Gary, you got any more input, thoughts on that?
The easy payment plan is going superb. You know, we've had another one today. We're getting a lot of people have been in the race before even taking out the easy payment plan, because at the end of the day, it's interest free. So why money in the bank and pay a bit each week? When we started this race was set out for one reason only: to give the working class fancier, which is where I come from, a working class background, and I'll never ever forget my roots whatsoever. I'm still working class. To give them a chance to race against the big boys for a good amount of money. Why shouldn't they? Within this race, I've been offered bribes by, if you like it, a big knob in pigeons. And basically, I'm going to say I fucked him off, because if you stray off that line, you won't get back on it. What gives them any right to win over the working class bloke? As I've said before, I don't care who wins this race. I'll shake their hand and good luck to them. Every pigeon is treated, motivated, and medicated the same.
As was proven this year, Dinny Kinsella, normal guy, normal player, and he won. So yeah, easy payment plan's going really well. How many birds have you got entered at the moment, mate?
Just short of 400 now, which is phenomenal. Take it me, that's phenomenal for this time of year.
So we're aiming for 1,200 now. That's the first goal, the top goal, and the maximum that we can have is 50. When I say we, I'm only because I'm working with Gary on the promotion. It's all Gary's race. I have nothing to do with the race other than helping to promote it, market it, and do whatever deals I can to help Gary forward the race. So when I ever use the word we, it's because I'm closely working with Gary to get it out there. The maximum loft capacity for next year will be 1,500, and it's worth noting that probably will always be the maximum. The race will never go above 1,500 birds. So that's worth noting as well. So you've got the easy payment plan. You've got some new news coming out soon regarding the prize monies and what have you. The prize money is increasing this year. We'll be talking more about that down the line as well. But remember, easy payment plan, 50 quid, you're in. Team of 3 for £500, and you're in. We've got our little Tatton's Loft saying he's definitely in this year. Cy James put us down for 6 this year, please, Gary. Mitchell Ross says, is there Who Dares Wins reps in other countries yet? Yes, there are. Our man, Aaron Ennis, who was taking the show last week, he is now the Ireland rep. And Aaron's going to be working hard on getting as many Irish birds in. This race is probably the best race for Irish, but obviously there's Sean Hunt's race, right? But outside of Ireland, this race suits Irish birds, as has been proven by the results in the last 5 years. So Aaron Ennis is the official agent for the Who Dares Wins race in Ireland. There are other agents out there as well, and over the next few months we're going to be working on getting more agents as well. We're talking about getting birds in from the Canary Islands, from Spain. I skipped your question, Stephen, because I haven't got the answers specifically now, and I know Gary won't have either because we're both going off the same spreadsheet. So I'll answer them, and I want to wrap up, Stephen. I will personally message you the answers about the birds in the lots, because I've got the spreadsheet here. And if I ask Gary that, he will say I haven't got the spreadsheet in front of me because I only sent the spreadsheet through to him last night, mate. I'll deal with that as well. I'll answer it for you when we're not on the show, mate, because I need to go on to another system and find it. Andy Craig says, great show, guys. Count me in for next year's Who Dares Wins. Great. Excellent. So, yeah, if you're in Ireland, Aaron Ennis is going to be the man coordinating everything for the Irish birds coming in for next year. You really want me to ask Gary? Let me go on. All right, Stephen. My wish is your command. Hang on. I'm trying to find your answer question now. Where is it? Yes, the running dropper. Who bought Errol's Flynn's bird? He won ace pigeon last year and was third ace this year. And they were 60 a bargain. I last checked. Errol Flynn had a couple of birds in, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lot 6 was Errol Flynn's bird. But Errol, the ace pigeon last year, Errol bought it back himself. So is he saying that this is a youngster from Errol Flynn's bird?
I don't quite
last year.
Let's find out.
It'd help if you could give me the lot numbers.
Yeah, I'm finding out now. 1 second. Explain which one you meant, Stephen.
What's the ring number of it and the lot number?
For Errol Swinbird, he won ace bird last year and was third ace this year.
Third ace was it second?
The lot number, I take it then, is lot 6.
Right.
Yeah, 057266. That was bought for £155 by Evelyn Butner.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, it was. I've got it here. So I hope that answers the question, Stephen.
I'd just like to say to Stephen, there's nothing hidden anywhere here. You know, everything's transparent. If there's any more questions you've got,
he's not asking about that. Sorry, what he was asking about who offered the bribe, and that won't be repeated, Stephen.
No, I plenty of people already know that, Stephen. You know, let me just tell you, he's a big player in one-off racing, and
it will never be repeated publicly.
No, I can't repeat
for many reasons, mate.
Let's say he's not in this race anymore and won't be.
No, you can't expect Gary to answer that publicly, mate, Stephen. But anyway, that's yeah. Sorry, and again, any questions you got about the Errol Flynn birds, mate, let me know, and I'll answer them gladly, and Gary will as well. I'm not answering that, Stephen. So that's that. It's not happening, mate. I got enough hassles as it is out of others. I got enough hassles as it is. I'm not getting in that, nor will Gary either. So that's that. Right. So easy payment plan. Get your in. We've got some more coming in as a result of that. Nearly 400 birds already. Maximum 115. 100. Sorry. Maximum of 1,500 birds this year. You're going to be seeing Gary. What shows are you going to, mate?
I'm doing quite a few this year. I'm going to Epsom. Then I'm hoping to go over to Cassel because Jack Boalder, who is our Dutch agent, he's introducing me to a big player from Germany, because obviously the Germans are massive players in one-off racing, and they're the people that we're wanting to attract. Because unlike any other one-off race they're in at the moment, I don't think there's a one-off race where the birds have to cross 91 miles of water to get home, and they are very successful factories in one-off racing. We also have a Danish agent, which I'm hoping to meet over there as well. He's covering all Scandinavia. Hopefully I've had a response from Romania, and we've had a response from Belgium as well. So I'm hoping to meet up with all these people. Then I'm going to be doing the Doncaster show, probably in Dublin, Blackpool. Then I think it's Doncaster again, but by which time then we get into mid-March, which quite a lot of opinions are going to be here by then, you know, and I think they'll have to be full by then. So
yeah,
the response about this year, you know,
he's going to be out and about. Gary, I'm going to go, all being well, going, and all being well, this man here, Zandy, is coming to Castle. We're going to arrange to do that. We're probably going to try and be there on a Saturday, Friday night, Saturday, coming back to Sunday. That's something Gary and I got arranged tomorrow. We've got to get some flight books. So we're going to be in Casa for anybody that's there as well. I'm going to come over as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to be in Blackpool as well. The last thing to say, which is just my own little thing for a minute. I agree, Stephen. We will talk about that separately, mate. Let's move on from that for now, though. My last little thing to say is this. The Who Dares Wins, Gary was good enough to put the Who Dares Wins auction with me this year. And we did have some problems, albeit they did marginally keep improving day by day as the different lots came up. It is not to the standard that I wanted. Gary said to me the afternoon before the first lot started ending, stop stressing. I said, I'll stop stressing if the site doesn't crash. The site didn't technically crash. It just was bombarded with requests, and technically there was a lot of people on it trying to do stuff. It is not to the level I want nor expect. Although people have said it's not my fault, it is my responsibility. Rest assured, first of all, the 99 lots averaged £155 a bird, which, considering the issues we had, was okay. Gary is okay with me about it, much to the dislike perhaps of some other people that might be watching, hoping Gary is peed off with me about it. He's not. There's a reason. The reason I did the deal with Gary and the deal was structured in a way that he knew this was my first auction. And I would say, like I said online yesterday, it's not what I want it to be. But as of today, I am already speaking with a new company that offers top-end professional auction software with in-room live bidding. And we are working on a new solution, and that solution will be working pretty quickly. And my goal for RPI auctions is to make it the UK and Irish auction venue, both online and offline. My goal is to fuse the two. You will never beat online for getting people around the world, but at the same time, you'll never beat that feeling of people being in a room bidding on birds that they can actually see. And as was proven with some of Mark Walker's stuff I've done with Mark, we actually had people buying birds because we had people being able to handle them and show them on a video link the bird, and as a result they bought them. My goal is to fuse them together. Now, on the continent that this is happening, but it isn't happening in the UK and Ireland. RPI Auctions is going to make it happen in Ireland and the UK, and that's what I'm working on. So people will be able to see a website, but also for some auctions, not all, they will be able to be in a room, and also people will be able to bid online. That is what we're working on. I'm not somebody that sits around. I've been talking to a high-end company today because I want to up the game, and it's going to be working. And again, I apologize to anybody that had issues bidding. Generally, we did have bids coming in within the last few seconds because we were watching them here. Gary, Zandy, and I were watching them come in. But it's not good enough, and it will be different. I assure you. You know, although I'm not a programmer, a tech geek. I'm a tech geek. I'm the naughty professor, according to Gary. I'm not actually a programmer, but I know my way around enough to know what needs to be done. And trust me, it is being done. And one other real quick thing: it's not going to be implemented yet, but as this auction site progresses, thank you to Sheldon Leonard for the idea and developing. I've been developing the idea since. For certain auctions, not all, because it's just not going to be possible for all, but for certain auctions, RPI auctions will be doing, we will be offering an easy payment plan. Nobody does that. Why would we be offering an easy payment plan? Again, not for all auctions, but for some. because we want to give everybody the chance of being able to own top quality birds. The deal will be very simple. You can pay X amount per week, per month, and we keep the bird until you paid for it, and you get the bird as soon as you pay for it. But enable people to be able to bid more than they perhaps can afford right now, but know in 2, 3, 4 months they will be able to afford that. We're going to be offering that, genuinely looking to shake things up. And despite what some people think, I will do it, and it will happen. Thank you for that. Chris Davis, fantastic show, really enjoyed. Thank you, Gary, for your knowledge and shared. You're an inspiration. Chris Davis says bidding online video link is the future. Absolutely. Stephen O'Brien, top man Gary Tomlinson. Thank you everybody for watching. If you haven't yet joined the Facebook group for RPI, why not? Go and join it. Facebook.com/groups/Racing Pigeon International. If you haven't joined the Who Dares Wins One Off Race Facebook group, go to Facebook.com/groups/Who Dares Wins Race and join that as well. Valley View Lofts, see you at Blackpool, lads. You sure will. We will be there together with my pigeon sidekick, Zandy. And we will see you there. Thank you for watching. Blown away by up to 600 people watching this show. Averaged out at about 450, 460 people. Thank you, means a great deal. Have a good rest of your evening. Gary, thank you for being on, mate. You're the reason everybody's joined tonight. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated.
Cheers, buddy.
I will catch you.
Say, thanks for some of the positive questions. You know, we've had no idiot like questions, which sometimes you can get, but no, everything's constructive. And if I can help in any way to anybody, then you know I'm always there. Message me, email me, whatever. We can get things sorted. You know, there's always a way. Keep going.
Great.
Don't give in.
And yeah, I agree. And to the man and lady giving up, you ain't giving up. We're going to help you get sorted out. We don't want to see anybody giving up. Thank you very much, folks. Be lucky. Have a good rest of your evening. Catch you soon. Keep flying and watch out for more stuff coming from RPI. Cheers, guys.